My name is Heather Quinlan. I am a native New Yorker and a filmmaker, and I recently finished a documentary on the New York accent called If These Knishes Could Talk. And now I have set my sights 6 feet underground for a documentary on New York cemeteries called Look Who's Dead. Manhattan is very tiny compared to the other boroughs and compared to larger cities. And it is crushed with people. And I believe that these cemeteries are places where you can get your head together a little bit, ironically, in a place of the dead, and sort of have kind of a meditative experience among the people who had been there before you. And I believe that they all have a story. There are tens of thousands of fascinating people you can find in New York City cemeteries, including Mae West, Lou Gehrig, Boss Tweed, Max Roach, Lionel Hampton, Celia Cruz, and Leonard Bernstein. Leonard Bernstein picked an interesting place to be buried because this is the highest point in Brooklyn. It's where the Minerva statue is, and as you can see, she is waving at the Statue of Liberty across the harbor. And to this day, no building is allowed to be built that will get in the way of the two women waving to each other. This was a lot more than I expected, even for Babe Ruth. This might look like a mess, and indeed it is, but it speaks very much to who Babe Ruth was and what his legacy was as a hard player and a hard partier.
Here's the pitch, it's a slow curve low, and the base swings. It's a long one going out toward right center. It's in there. Another home run for the Bambino.
When you look a little bit closer, you'll see that people have really left their heart and soul behind, and the balls reflect that. There are some that have been here for so long that the leather has come off here and here. In fact, there's absolutely no leather on this one whatsoever. And of course, being Babe Ruth, a can of Budweiser. There's no IPA around here. And I find it's the one place on earth where Yankees and Red Sox can coexist peacefully. Like the neighborhoods that people live in, cemeteries reflect the immigrants of the time. There are neighborhoods and cemeteries as well. There are ethnic neighborhoods specifically that represent the popular wave of immigrants right now. We're at Jackie Robinson's grave. He is buried here at Cypress Hills Cemetery. What I find interesting is when you talk about cemeteries as neighborhoods, I feel like Cypress Hills is a huge city because it's one of 17 cemeteries that are all along what's known as the cemetery belt between Brooklyn and Queens. And as Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in baseball, you'll find here a huge example of the new wave of immigrants that have come in the last several decades. Who's facing him is a large number of Asian headstones reflective of the new wave of Asian immigrants that have come in recently. This is an African-American neighborhood at Woodlawn Cemetery in the Bronx. Well, more specifically, this is known as the Jazz Corner, and behind me you can see why. This is Miles Davis's headstone. He was buried here because he wanted to be buried right next to his hero, Duke Ellington. And that's what I love about New York City cemeteries. They're just as diverse and unique as the streets that surround them.